him in a long time. Let's give him a hand clap. Great man, yeah. So good to see you, sir. Hallelujah. Then Apostle Glenn right by his side. It's so good to see you, sir. And my apostle, I call him my apostle. Hallelujah. Joseph Cox. It's so good to see you three men. Hallelujah. And we want you to know that the rest of you are welcome. God is doing a new thing in Bahama land. And he said before he manifested, he tell you of them. And so for the last 18 years, we have been coming to this park. And we have been decreeing and declaring that there is a history within our history. In other words, Yahweh has chose our history to tell his story. And so it is why we are here today. Because how many know he wrapped things like he wrapped himself in a manger, he wrapped himself in swaddling clothes, he wrapped truth in history. And so we are here to bear a truth today that the Bahamian people is yet to grasp. And so it will be done because it's Yahweh's will. He said, we shall cry from the top of the mountains. We shall sing aloud from the sea. We shall magnify his laws. We shall glorify his name. How many know when God says something, nothing can undo it?
Hallelujah.
If he say and decree a thing, it shall happen. And it's in this spirit we gather here today. Because if he decree a thing, it shall happen. Hallelujah. I am privileged and honored to recognize and present to you our first speaker for today. And he is none other than Attorney Paul Moss. And this man has been standing with me in this park for the last 18 years. I've never come to this park without Paul Moss. I want you to give him a special hand right here first before I call him. And he has a passion for the preservation of majority rule and for it to be celebrated the way it happened. And that's our concern. There are those who want to rewrite history, but there are those who also want to preserve it the way it happened. And so coming before you right now is my friend Paul Moss, Attorney Paul Moss, who will share his insight into this majority rule and what it means to our nation, the importance of it. Come on, let's stand as we welcome Attorney Paul Moss, who will come and share with us what he is feeling about this most significant event called majority rule.
Thank you very much. May have a seat. I think that many of us now, over the years, have come to know what this day is. But I want to speak to you this afternoon on why it is that we have what is called revisionists in our country who are trying to downplay this day. Someone said that they want to even change the name of the day. They do not want it to be called majority rule because it's embarrassing to those who are in the minority. That it is offensive to call it majority when you have others in the country as well. And for me, if we take that route, we may as well change slavery. We have a day called Emancipation Day, the 1st of August. They've been very crafty in not changing that because they call it now August Monday, when in fact it's Emancipation Day, emancipation from slavery. And January 10th was a day in which the Bahamian people went to the polls to vote. But we know that on that night, when the polls closed and the votes were tallied, there was a tie. There was 18 for the PLP and 18 for the UBP, which meant that no one formed the government. There had to be deals and what we call horse trading so that people could have jockeying on each side to see whether they could bring the independent candidate A.R. Brennan and the Labour candidate Randall Fox to come and join them so that they could form the government. We know it took 4 days for this to happen. 4 days. And so when people celebrate January 10th, and when they made the holiday January 10th, I know it was an error simply because if a woman is in labor on January 10th and the labor lasts for 3 or 4 days, you cannot say that you were born on January 10th. You have to be born on the day that you actually push through. And so we know that we are living a lie in our country today when we talk about January 10th being Majority Rule Day. I think that the reason why they've done it for January 10th is to make it very easy for them to forget about those men who were very instrumental in forcing the majority rule 4 days later. That is A.R. Brennan, who was a white man, and Randall Fox, a black man, who was very instrumental in the labor union and workers' rights in this country. You see, if you don't talk about them, you can just refer to January 10th. And if you don't want to talk about them, you just say, well, look, you know, January 10th was the day they went to vote, and that's the day when the victory was declared. That's not the case. And for us, if we want to get it right, we have to get it right for our children.
Yes.
We have to make sure that the children understand. Otherwise, 20 years from now, they could care less about it because you've not told them. And this is what the Jews do. The Jews tell their children, and it's passed on to generation to generation. But in our country, we seem to be ashamed of these days. I can declare right here today, I'm not ashamed. I'm very happy for majority rule because someone had to have done it. Someone had to have been obedient to the Father for us to have this day. And so I want us to really push through and make sure that we lobby, we continue to fight for the right day to be recognized. And once we do that, we will have the way to preserve this day in history. You see what's going on in the world today, and you talk about all the rights that people have and how tolerant you have to be. And like they say, if one generation is tolerant, the next generation will accept. And that is what we have to guard against right now, because if we allow people to be tolerant to accept that January 10th is in fact the actual day, it means then that years from now, it may not make a difference to those who come afterwards.
That's right.
Because we tolerate it, they'll accept it. And so that's what we must do. Because this day is just as significant as Independence Day, and some would say even the emancipation of slavery, because even though we were set free as slaves in this country in 1834, there was still 3 years after that of what they call apprenticeship, like you're still basically slaves. One like me would tell you that many of us are still slaves. And the system has made us slaves. We continue to lift up and glorify the slavery. But these are things that must change. And the only way for it to change is for us to be honest, for us to have this conversation, and to educate ourselves and our people on what is required. This day, 51 years ago, this was celebration. They weren't celebrating on January 10th, they were celebrating on this day.
Come on now.
January 14th.
That's the truth.
They're celebrating. Yes. Because for the first time, men and women began to see, actually, that they could be what they want to be. That things could change, because it was so hard. They didn't think it was possible. That the minority still controlled the economic pie in the country. Many of them controlled the jobs. That even when their wives, Bahamian wives, were out working, they were told by their employers that, listen, you had better vote for us, otherwise you won't have a job. And so many people, under the threat of economic hardship, still persevered and pushed through and made this day possible. This is a great day. This is a day that ought to be celebrated. It ought to be taught in our schools. And this is something that we must see to it that it happens, because you cannot be a great country if you aren't able to teach your history in your schools.
Come on.
You got to be great. Otherwise, you'll be termed, as President Trump said, one of those countries.
Wow.
And we have to understand that we have to do better as a nation. We can do a lot better.
That's right.
And
We will.
we will do better.
Hallelujah.
And we know that the people must play a role in making sure that we get to that stage. And so I just want to say that we have to persevere. It's been a long, hard struggle. It's very difficult to be a voice in the wilderness, but we push through.
Hallelujah.
And I can say for myself that, notwithstanding what happens on the left or the right, this is the road I'm on.
Hallelujah.
Oh, brother.
And I chose this road. I could go on the easy street too. It's very easy to go on the next side. Very, very easy, you know. But this is not my lot. That's not my lot. And I think that for us, we have to be the ones, sort of, when history is written, they could say that, well, I know this man stood up. This is something that they did, and so here we are today. And that's what this is about. So I want to wish you all a very happy Majority Rule Day, and we hope to do bigger and better things next time.
Hallelujah.